And hello, South Florida. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate and America's longest running daily radio show, all about the topic of real estate. My name is Eric Willner, and I'm your host here as we are live 5 days a week, 5 different ways to reach us: AM, FM, the apps, the website, and of course on Facebook. All of those you can find out either by listening to some of our past recordings. You can go to our website at Automatic Landlord and find everything out. That's automaticlandlord.com. You can listen to us live as we stream there. You can find out more about our show. You can send us a message. Probably the easiest thing to remember is that right there. The other thing I'd say remember is our text line, which is 561-861-2366. And today I'm going to give out a new word, the word investor. And I'm going to tell you why you're going to want to put that and text that to get the information for today's show. We got a great show for you today on our Veterans Day. And Jordan wanted to wish everybody out there a happy Veterans Day. We wanted to talk to you a little bit more about our whole week that we've been talking about. What if money was no object? And I talked about the concept on Monday. We talked about the different ways that could happen to you. And of course, getting down to the fifth and most likely way, if you weren't already born into the Lucky Diaper Club, if you didn't marry into it, if you didn't win the lottery, and you're not on state subsidy, all of those would basically give you the income that you need without having to work for it. I'm going to show you the fifth way, which is probably the best way and the most likely way that more Americans could achieve that, ultimate goal of being financially independent. And what I'm going to share with you today is something that I did a number of different times. But when I originally did this, I realized that I really hit a nerve, because I broke something down so simple, so simple that anybody could do it. Literally anybody. As somebody on minimum wage, think about this. Somebody on minimum wage could actually do this program. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the minimum wage. The presentation that I originally did was the college graduates guaranteed $1 million retirement plan. And I said, anybody that graduates college ought to follow up and do this. And and I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break it down really simple today. So today is a show. It's definitely a writer downer. It might be a listener overer show. And this is something that if you put this to paper, and I'll invite you that if you want to text the word discovery to 561-861-2366, we'll set up a one-on-one, no cost, no obligation, but we'll customize this literally to your situation. And I'll show you how doable this is. Now, I originally presented this as why every college student, if we taught this single strategy in college to every major that is given, the colleges would be doing the justice to, number one, the people that invested tens of thousands of dollars in many cases in their college education, many of which walk out of college with a diploma and a huge debt. And we're going to talk about how to get rid of that debt using an extension of this exact program. But think about this. And regardless of whether you had to finance college or whether you were lucky enough to be a member of the Silver Spoon Club that got your college paid for, or whether you worked and paid for your college, bravo to you, or whether you were a veteran and got your college paid for by the U.S. government, even more bravo to you. But all I'm saying here is that no matter which way you go, if you follow these very simple steps that I'm going to outline in detail and give to you today, something that no financial guru out there is talking about, something that nobody that I know of is really talking about, and who should be talking about it. Number one, we should be teaching this in high school, because if we taught everybody in high school, what I'm going to do is today, because I'm going to take exactly my conversation that I had talking to college graduates, I want to talk to high school graduates also. So if as many more and more people today are deciding to opt out of college, become an entrepreneur or do other things, this process works even better if you start this process right out of high school. Now, if you go to work, you should start it right out of high school. If you're working out of high school, then you should start this program. In fact, what I should say is that as soon as you start working, this is when you should implement what I'm going to talk about. And so the first question I would have to you, do you think you could save $50 a month? Could you save up? If I told you that if you can save up $50 a month, every month, for the next 40 years, and I guaranteed you that you could retire a millionaire earning close to $500,000 a year. In other words, forget Social Security. Don't even worry about it. It can be your gas money if it's even still around. But imagine if I could show you a plan, and all I need for you, remember my things, you got to be coachable, you got to be cooperative, and you got to be committed. If you have those three characteristics and the ability to save $50 a month and separate it into an account, then you could be a millionaire at your retirement. And so let's get right into this, because I want to, first of all, tell you the basic assumptions. And I did this back when you could buy a property, and you still can today, to this day, in different areas. You can buy a house for $100,000. It's not going to be, on the beach in Fort Lauderdale, but you could buy this. And P.S., we could increase those numbers a little bit. It just means your savings will increase very incrementally. In fact, maybe what I'll do is sometime in the near future, and this was my offer, that if you do text the word investor to 561-861, I will customize one of these plans for your specific financial situation today. I'll show you how to get rid of student debt. I'll show you how to get rid of all of your debt and retire with, like I said, over $35,000 a month in income and over $3.5 million in real estate, and over $1.5 million of it free and clear. So this is how we basically start this. And here are my assumptions, and they're dead easy. Number one, assuming that you can save $50 a month. And we're going to do this ongoing, because this is going to be a system. Remember our conversation about systems on Tuesday, that we're going to follow, implement, and never stop doing. $50 a month is really all this takes. And everything else you would have done anyway, right? You still, whether you go to work, go to school, go to do everything, you're going to do that anyway. You're going to pay rent somewhere. You can choose. You can either pay rent and have nothing built up at the end of your career, or you can buy a house and then repeat the process and have what I just explained to you here. So here are the basic assumptions. Assumption number one is that we're going to start at age 22, meaning that you went to college. So you're starting early in the big picture, late in the possibility, because I'm going to show you if we have time at the end, how to set somebody up that they could retire by the age of 40, like I just explained and described, similar. So this is someone graduating from college. So I assume that if you went to college, it's because you're going to be gainfully employed. And if you're gainfully employed, I seriously think you could save $50 a month towards your down payment. Okay, that's what that's for. I'm assuming that we're going to repeat this process every so often in this period. I'm going to tell you what that period is in just a second. I'm assuming that real estate is appreciating 3% a year on average. Every year will not be an up year. Some years will be down years. And in fact, on average, where I am broadcasting from here in South Florida, the average is more like 5 to 7%, 15% last year. And we know we're going to give back some of that 15% to average it out because it's always 5 to 7%. But that is a very safe assumption because since the beginning of tracking anything, especially real estate, or real estate is appreciated anywhere between 3 to 7%, depending on what part of the country, right? In the Rust Belt in the center of the country is more like 3%. You know, your Ohio's, your Western Pennsylvania's, your, you know, Michigan and so forth. And then you go to California, Arizona, the Sun Belt, as opposed to the Rust Belt, you're going to see 5 to 7% and sometimes even better. So the assumption is only 3%. I'm taking the low end of that. I'm taking the low end of your ability to save $50. I'm taking the fact that we're going to repeat this process. We're going to allow that $50 to accumulate. 50 times 12 is $600 a year. 5 years, you're going to get to a 3% down payment. And today, I can get you a loan for your home at 3% all day long. Okay, all day long. And so assuming that the first house that you buy at age 22, you graduate, whether you have the $3,000, your parents give you the $3,000, or if in worst case scenario, you beg, steal, or borrow it, I recommend it. Otherwise, you'll have to wait 3 more years to get started. But come on, we're talking about $50 a month savings to get to a whopping amount of $3,000. So year one, I do this and I buy a $100,000 house and I live in it for 5 years. I'm going to pay the same amount in rent that I normally would. And it'd be the same as rent. Today, it's actually cheaper with the interest rates we have today. It's cheaper to own than it is to rent. And so then I start the next cycle. I save for another 5 years, $50 a month. And by the way, that's assuming no interest or return on that $50. I'm putting it into a checking account to get to the $3,000. Then at the end of year 5, I buy my second house, which, by the way, my first one is worth what? At 3% appreciation over 5 years. My house is at $115,000. Now I have my first house, I put it for rent and it's generating, let's just assume the 1% rule, again, conservative. In today's market, we'd be doing better than this, that I'm going to be making $12,000 gross income per month, a little bit of positive cash flow, but for sure it's going to support itself. So now I'm on house number 2. I do that I go on and then I just continue to do whatever it was. If I was an accountant, a teacher, a fireman, an engineer, even a doctor, I go on, I carry on my merry way. And by the way, so that 100,000 could be whatever proportionate that you can afford as your house, your first house, et cetera, or your entry level house or your median home in your area. It doesn't really matter because all we're doing is we're taking this formula and then we're going to repeat it over and over and over again. So by year 15, right? By year 15, I would have bought my first one. 5 years, I have my second one. 10 years, I have my third one. By 15 years, I have 4 houses, right? And I'm halfway through the payment schedule. And by the way, I'm going to show you how to put the turbo on this on another show. But I'm just saying I'm paying just like the banks requested, the absolute stipulated, payment every single month. But by year 15, my first house is halfway done in terms of time, not balance, time. And so now I have 4 houses. The appreciation at that point has reached 152,000. So 4 times 152, I have $600,000 in real estate value. My rents have come up to $1,500 a month now. So now 1,500 times 4 is what? $6,000 is coming through my account. Does that make me more eligible to buy more property? Yes, indeed, it does. Does that mean that I now have a much more interesting picture in terms of deductibility, in terms of write-offs on my taxes? Now I can start writing off my real estate business and my mileage and meals and other things involved in the quote unquote management of my properties. And remember, we're going to talk next week. You're going to love this sequence, because next week we're going to talk about the automatic landlord method. I talk about it all the time. I mention it by name. I'm going to break it down and share that with you. So now if you take what I've been talking about for the last 6 weeks, put it together with what I'm laying out for you in black and white this week, and then you add it to the automatic landlord, there's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't be on your path to be able to retire a millionaire with very simple conservative assumptions here. So now let's go on one more time before we go into our break. Now we're in our 20th year. We have now 5 properties. The properties have appreciated to 174,000, and you add those 5 properties up, multiply by the 174.9, by the way, so it's really 175. I'm at $875,000 worth of real estate. Okay, I'm approaching $1 million by the 5th iteration of the period. And the reason I'm saying it this way, you're going to see in the second half of the show, but by the 5th, section set of 4 years, of 5 years, I mean, I've got 5 houses. By the 6th, I have 6 houses, and now I've crossed the $1 million property line. I've got more than $1 million in property. And remember, I said I don't care if you can still save up that minimal amount of money per month, and every 5 years I'm getting to the number of the 3% down to buy the next one. And at that point, I've got rents coming in over $2,000 per house. I've got over $24,000 in gross rental income. Now our positive cash flow is starting to get really good, because remember, our first ones, the rents have gone up on that first $100,000 house. Today it's a 100, or in the 6 years, it's a 200,000. It's doubled in the 25 years that have gone on. And I've got a gross annual rental income of $150,000. That's the gross. That's not the net. But remember, I'm doing whatever else I was doing. I'm a school teacher. I'm an accountant. I'm a doctor. I'm a fireman. It really doesn't matter what you're doing. We're well on our way to the $1 million. And I don't want to just get to $1 million that I own. I'm going to talk about that I bought. I want to talk about $1 million that I have in equity before I retire. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Hear a few words from our sponsors. Don't touch that dial. The best is yet to come. You're listening to what we call the Guaranteed College Graduates Millionaire Plan. And you could do it any time, because I'm going to break it down. What if you're long past a college student? Well, I'm going to talk about that after the break. Don't touch it. We'll be right back. Hey, Susan, New York, Susan, Il Doro. We got Brazil in the house today. Dorinho, good buddy of mine. Someone I know since I was 15 years old. Skateboarding in Rio de Janeiro. What a cool name to see. I'm so happy to see that. Susanna, yep, $50 a month. This is how dead easy it really is. And if you think about this, this is really a statement about how our educational system is really failing to take some of these very basic concepts. Why we don't teach this. Wow, look at all these messages coming in. Why we don't teach this in our high school, so that everybody that graduates high school, which, by the way, public schools, free education through grade 12. So all of the people who think the government owes me this and owes me that, we already put you through school all the way through 12th grade, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, 13 years of school that the government already gives you. And you're going to tell me that it's the additional 4 years that stops you from being successful, I'm not buying it. And I'm telling you that if you listen to what we're talking about today, you wouldn't buy it either. Anyway, we're coming back. I love that comment. And welcome back. For those of you just joining us here on the Real Estate Show, my name is Eric Willner. I am the host of this show, the longest running radio show about real estate in America, heard daily. And we're today talking about a presentation that I made a few years back, which I call the Guaranteed College Graduates Millionaire Program. And as you know, by accident, if you think about it, by accident, more millionaires are created in real estate here in America than any other occupation, asset investment strategy, period. Right? Now, imagine if this was taught in high schools all across the country. This was a basic. This is as simple as home economics. And there's no reason why, especially today, why you couldn't have a website on there. Everybody could put their own information in there, and they know exactly how much money they need to save. You can update it every year as your income and so forth grow. You can accelerate this program. But if you just joined us, remember, all of this is recorded. It's all going to be up on our website at automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. If you want your own customized, free, no obligation plan, just text the word investor to 561-861-2366. You can also write the word investor and send it to us on our website at automaticlandlord.com. So I wanted to pick up where we left off. So I had talked about the assumptions, $100,000 house to start, and it doesn't matter. The numbers are the same, just the proportionality changes a little bit. And in fact, I could even do this on the fly in a second. I'm going to change some of these assumptions, but I want to finish what this does. Assuming that you only buy a house once every 5 years because you saved up $50 a month for a down payment, and every 5 years I buy a house. I'm going to buy a house that is the equivalent of renting the same house. In fact, like I said, today it's cheaper. And every 5 years I move to a brand new house at whatever equivalent income that I have. I put the last house for rent and I put it on automatic pilot, automatic landlord method, and allow it to continue to appreciate while the fixed mortgage, the house grows, but the mortgage never does. In fact, the mortgage, through the systematic pay down of the mortgage, remember, that is the equity buildup. That's the third of the 5-star program that we talk about, the ideal investment. And now you've got these houses. Now we stopped at the 6th iteration at 25 years. Now go out to I'm now 67 years old. I've done this 10 times. That's a 50-year career. If I started at age 22, I'm now age 72. By now, I hope I'm retired. But at this point, I now have 4 houses that are free and clear. That means that I have 4 houses that are now worth $470. I'm sorry, they're worth $352,000. 4 of those means I have $1.4 million in free and clear properties. My total rental for 10 properties, now the rent is at $3,500, so over $35,000 a month in monthly income. 4 or half of those are now nearly or are free and clear, and Social Security, whatever that is, it ain't going to touch the kind of income that you have. You got $3.5 million in total real estate, and that's assuming only a 3% return. Maybe tomorrow we'll finish up and I'll show you the 5-year plan version of this same concept, and you'll be amazed that the numbers aren't very scary at all. Anyway, that's all the time that I got today. The music is coming in. That means that they're about to pull the hook and take me off. So until tomorrow, same place, same time, join us back here for the Real Estate Show. Make sure you join us either on our radio show or on our Facebook Live. Until then, drive safe and make it a great day. Bye-bye. Yes, you will. Thank you very much. Yeah, and I didn't have time on the show, but I'm happy to show you that I can boil this down very manageably into a 5-year program or a 10-year program, and still create millionaires in the process using real estate. So that is the ATM edition of this week's show. What if money was no object? And by the way, would it matter what you did? The love, the passion of your life. And at this point, I think that most of us could survive pretty well on about $30,000 a month in income after following this process. And whether it was a well rewarded retirement for a teacher, who, by the way, now it's just imagine you have the teacher's pension on top of this money, and maybe if there is anything left of Social Security at that point, money would be no object at this point, and hopefully you enjoy your golden years. I can show how to do this by age and retire somebody at age 40. If you do it on the 5-year plan, imagine if you did the first one for your child at age 13, and then you did the first one and put $50 a month away so that when they turn 18, they buy their first house, but they're now into their second house. So imagine graduating high school, having 2 properties, and the mindset that you have, knowing that all you have to do is follow the steps. It's pretty amazing. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. I got to get going, and I will be back here, same place, same time tomorrow. Until then, please give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and most of all, really important, share this, subscribe on this. We got to take this number. We've been kind of hitting this plateau. I haven't been asking anybody to subscribe in a long time, and I need a little bit of love there. So hopefully we'll get some more subscribers there if each one of you will share this program and tell people to subscribe. Thanks a lot. See you soon.